We just watched season 2, episode 5 of Gilmore Girls, and we have to discuss it. Carrie just got introduced to Jess. We're going to get into the title, the attitude, all of it. But first, we're going to ask you to subscribe. No matter where you're listening, just hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Now, hi, I'm Chemda.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
God, I got so excited. I didn't even introduce myself. You already know the title, but I'm going to repeat it.
Yes.
It's Nick and Nora, Sid and Nancy.
Yes. And I, by accident, saw the title before we started, and I thought this was going to be a really different episode based on Sid. And I was like, oh, we're doing heroin? We're going to the Chelsea Hotel? Like, what are we?
So that's the thing. I didn't want to tell you, like, you're going to be disappointed.
I was very disappointed. There was very little heroin in this episode, minimal heroin overdosing.
So you knew both the reference Nick and Nora and Sid and Nancy. Should we clue people in just in case? Because I had heard the Sid and Nancy, Nick and Nora, but I had to look it up because I didn't know what to associate it with. So Nick and Nora are the characters from the movie The Thin Man. And it's the reference to a 1930s crime-solving, martini-sipping couple known for affectionate, witty banter.
Okay.
And then Sid and Nancy. And
same thing.
You referred to it. A 1986 biopic about the Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious and his girlfriend Nancy. How do you pronounce her last name? Spungen?
Spongic. I've always said Spungen, right?
And they symbolize a toxic, chaotic, and tragic relationship. So I could see if you knew those references, you were expecting quite the throwdown.
Yes, I had recently watched Sid and Nancy to see, because we were obsessed with it in high school, and I watched it. Does not hold up, but
I mean, does it not hold? I've never seen it. Does it not hold up for people who are addicted to heroin and are chaotic, or how does it not?
Yeah, well, we just thought it was really edgy and cool in high school. And now I'm seeing all the problematic, like, oh, this is a terrible relationship. Like, we thought it was romantic, and like, it is not romantic.
Like the beginning of Requiem for a Dream. I'm like, oh, look at them. Does heroin cause like this nice, like mushed up, emotional, poetic, like the start of every heroin?
No, it sounds, I mean, I myself have never partook in heroin.
It's scary. It's so scary.
Yeah, because the movies like Sid and Nancy, I was like, well, I guess I'm not touching that stuff. We're influential.
Because of any movie about that specific drug, and any story about that drug usually doesn't end up very well.
Right.
Like,
and people do heroin once when they're like 18 and then miss it for the rest of their lives.
I know.
And that sounds terrible.
It sounds like no matter what, you're going to have a terrible time, and it's going to affect the rest of your life. So it's not something I ever wanted to touch.
But Rory goes crazy with heroin in this episode.
All right.
Because I would have called this episode Curveball Jess. But then that would have been a spoiler. But yeah, we get a new character walks onto the screen.
And I have a few alternate titles. Was that your one alternate title?
That was my one. I didn't know we were supposed to write more than one, so I only wrote one.
They just come to me.
You changed the rules, but okay.
I wrote Adrian.
Okay.
He just reminds me of Rocky, the way he talks, the whole thing. Rebel Without a Cause, I thought. This is Hell.
Yes.
Or Not Everyone Likes Small Towns.
Interesting. Yes.
I know they're not all great, but they're just, now I'm putting them in my notes. Like, now I can't come to this show without alternate titles. And I am very excited for you to meet Jess, because I feel like you had the same sentiment that he does. Like, what are we doing in this small town? Why are you all enjoying yourself, like wearing matching outfits and skipping in the street and stuff? And he has that vibe.
Right.
So I thought you might enjoy.
But it's a little underdeveloped. Well, we'll get to know him.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I have a feeling this kid's here to stay for a minute.
Yeah.
So we open once again, the road trip is over. We ended last time on let's open an inn, and they're super excited. Once again, the show opens with no through line to what we're talking about when we start. It doesn't come up in this episode at all.
Yeah, because I think they give us some from this story, some from
I
this
know,
story. And
I know. But certain characters, like this might have been a good episode for like, I don't know, Dean to stop by and say one word. Like just so that we collectively don't forget that he exists entirely, which you might.
Yeah, and so it's Rory's first day of school, so I guess a couple of weeks have passed. And see, I felt for Rory when she was talking to Lorelai about like, look, we're going to be late, because this is the second time that she's having a first day at Chilton, and the first time they were very late and very inappropriate. And I think that her worries are appropriate. She has a different locker. She has a different classes. She has to route her whole
Yeah, but
thing.
isn't Rory self-propelled? Doesn't she get to school on a bus, like a city bus?
Yes. Maybe her mom's driving her to school because it's special that day, like the
All
first
right.
day.
Well, then maybe Rory shouldn't ask her mom to drive her to school because her mom is not a reliable, like, first day of school person.
You know,
and if
what?
Rory really wanted to get there early, she could just get an earlier bus.
Touche.
Just saying.
That's
They're in the
true.
diner.
Yeah.
For the first half of this episode, I was obsessed with with the Lorelai's top. The brown one with like the little patterns on the top. I don't know. I thought it was really cute. But they're in the diner and she's like, let's go to school. And then a troop of Boy Scouts walk in. And I'm like, oh no, this is the Boy Scout episode. No, nothing happens with the Boy Scouts. We're just here to illustrate that Lorelai helps herself to donuts when necessary. That's it.
I love what Dosey says. He's so bananas. People who break the rules end up very lonely with no friends because they've become society's outcasts.
Yeah.
Oh, Dosey.
Yeah.
I mean, is that true?
I mean, what was the purpose of having the Boy Scouts in this scene? Was it just so that he could deliver that line with authority?
I think so. I think for Luke to say, do you have a sister? My condolences, because he was on the phone with his sister getting angry. I think it was to show the quaint relationship that Laura went and helped herself to donuts. Yeah, but you're right. I never really considered like seeing it for the first time through your eyes.
Well, because the whole episode, I'm waiting for the Boy Scouts to come up again, because why would we introduce that as a thing? So then, like, a few minutes later, when we find out like Jess is coming to town, I'm like, oh, he's going to become a Boy Scout. Because why did we introduce the concept of Boy Scouts existing in Stars Hollow at all?
I love that. Before we
knew how old Jess was, we see Luke on the phone annoyed. And then all of a sudden he's like gathering groceries and Lorelai meets him. And of course he fumbles everything all over. Good, body work. Like he had to pick up everything and then drop one item. They must have rehearsed that a million times. It was great. So he drops.
I thought of that also. Like, oh, he's got to drop very specific things. Then the bottom has to fall out from beneath the whole box. Like there's so much fumbling, and she's carrying one cereal box to help him.
Yes.
Thanks, Lorelai. Lorelai. Oh, she's like, you know what? I really want to call this the Lorelai is a jerk episode.
That was last episode when she folded the map.
Oh God. This is why people call her the villain.
Is this why people call? This isn't why. Is this why? Because she only picked up like one thing?
No.
I think just people. Yeah.
Yeah. So here comes the rebel guy, right? So you're introduced to Jess, but Lorelai wants to help. The inflated mattress at Luke's, is that so bad? The
fact that it was a boat and not a mattress was bad.
It was a boat?
He was inflating a dinghy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And not like a bed. But yeah, if I'm going to stay for any length of time in someone's home, I don't want to sleep on an airbed.
Sure, but it was temporary. She just dumped this kid. Luke's sister dumps the kid on Jess. Like, I'm not even sure Jess has ever met Luke, really.
Right. And why is Jess blaming Luke for this and not his own mother?
Because he's a kid in a very bad situation. I felt bad for him this entire episode, even though he's a jerk from start to finish, even though he doesn't know how to socialize, even though he's underage drinking, even though he's not being kind to anyone. I feel bad for him the entire time. This is a person who's obviously neglected, who just got plucked from his high school. I wouldn't have wanted to be plucked from my high school in my junior year to go to a town where it's a small town. And
did we hear where he's from, or did I miss that, or did I not write it down?
No, I didn't hear where he's from. That's
okay.
also.
But we assume it's a bigger town, wherever it is. It's like
I guess I assume like anything's a bigger town.
Right. So he could be from Hartford, or he could be from like LA. Like we have no idea.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, but Lorelai, when she finds out about what the situation is, where Jess is such a badass that he needs to leave his home, that his mother can't handle it anymore. She's like, then what makes you, Luke, think that you can handle this? What do you think of that? She says, you, Luke Danes, the great communicator, you're going to straighten the kid out?
Right. I mean, that's a little condescending, but also mind your business. And like, when I have a problem, I'll ask you. Like, why is she butting in? She didn't say, how long have you known him? She didn't say, when was the last time you saw him? She didn't say, do you know how long he's staying? There was none of that questioning. It was just like, I don't know if you can handle a kid. Kids are really hard.
I agree with you. It was very condescending. I do think, like, 25 years ago, do you think that women in general just felt like they could butt in because it is that, like, in the same vein that they, like, men thought they can just drop kids on us and we would know exactly what to do? Do you think that we were always feeling like we were being asked for help because we kind of knew, like, that kind of thing?
I mean, I wasn't asked for like help rearing children back then.
Just me.
But I still have my own opinions, you know, just be like, whoa, I wouldn't want to hang out with a stranger 17-year-old troublemaker. You know, it'd be like, would
you not tell a good friend of yours?
I would tell a friend of mine, but like, I think Luke is a little delusional in thinking it's going to be as easy as he thinks it is. Like, why does he think it's going to be so easy? Does he forget what being 17 was like? I always wonder that. I
don't think he thinks it's going to be, well, he says all he needs is a change of pace, a new crowd, get away from that nut job. That's my sister. I think that he's projecting because he would have wanted to get away from his sister and she drove him nuts. And he thinks she's selfish because she left their home, even though his mother was dead and his father was sick. And I feel like you get to leave your home even though your father is chaotic when you're an adult, and you don't have to feel guilty and stay. But that's their own relationship. Maybe, I think Luke has this whole thing of, look, a boy just needs another boy. You know, we'll just be cool. He probably doesn't need that much. He needs Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and he'll be cool. Like, because maybe he was an easy kid like that.
Right.
Maybe he needed his breakfast cereal and to be left alone, and he's not going to cause harm. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would have told Lorelai to butt out. I think he did ultimately tell her to butt out. And she was like, yeah, you'll ask me for help when you need it. Or like, I'll be here when you need it.
Yeah, because it sounded like she was trying to convince him not to do it. And he said stuff like, this is family. What can you do? I don't know that I would say no to my brothers if they said like, look, I can't handle it. But no one talked to Jess.
Right.
No one.
And Jess, like I wrote down, when is Jess 18? Assuming he's 18 in less than a year. Like, this is a temporary situation, and 18, he can do whatever he wants, like, legally. So,
yeah, and at 17, you're not that far away from feeling like an adult.
Oh, yeah, you have one foot out the door.
Yeah, you're not really asking for as much permission, even if you're expected to. Like, at 17, I was like, get out of my face at this point, you know? Like, and I was a good kid. Well, maybe I'm not in thinking about it and looking back, but I was.
Yeah, I was pretty independent at 17, but like if I'd been uprooted and sent to like a strange family member, it would have pissed me off. I would have been a little moody, you know?
Yeah.
And
he's already smoking. He's gambling. He wanted to play poker.
Well, that doesn't. Come on. I was playing.
I know.
Wasn't a gambling problem because you want to play poker.
But he already has an attitude. Now he has to sleep in the same room as his uncle, who like also can't talk, who also can't communicate.
It's
So
the
now you
sleeping
got,
in the same room that I think would drive me crazy. And he's at the foot of the bed like a dog.
I know.
Like, I don't know, that would make me crazy if that was the situation that my mother like put me into.
And it's every single situation. Also, Luke said his father left Der Wiener. They met at a Der Wiener Schnitzel.
Mm-hmm.
He's called the king of hot dogs or something. And he left them 2 years ago. So now your father abandoned you. Your mother can't, quote, handle you. Like, who wants that as a teenager? Oh, you can't handle me, but you're the adult. I'm already smoking. There's already, he took the beer like he was used to drinking. It's just so much that you just want to take this kid and go like, I'm sorry everyone's talking to you like they've never experienced being 17 in their lives.
Right. But also one thing they could bond over is that Liz is crazy. That's the sister, right?
Yeah.
So why doesn't he sit him down and be like, like Luke could say, so Liz is being weird or something, just to like open the door for like the one thing we have in common.
Because Luke is not known for.
He's not chatty, right?
He's not. They even greet each other. He goes Jess. The other one goes Luke. That's it. They grunt at each other. They're practically apes.
Right. So that makes me think that Luke was right. Like all this kid needs is like a change of scenery and like to get away from his mom, and like he doesn't need to cry on the shoulder of Luke. He doesn't need to like.
There's got to be an alternative to crying when you can't express yourself, and also being fully and further neglected by the new person who's supposed to be taking care of.
Right.
There's got to be some middle ground. And I'm not saying throw him to a therapist as if that's going to help, but it might. And it might also, like a lot of things might help. Like a conversation about not necessarily how do you feel, because Luke doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to pry that out of someone. But it is certainly not Lorelai Gilmore.
No, I think Dean could do it. Dean's a boy his age who's like sensitive and nice, but also very cool and confident.
That might want to make Jess punch him in the face, though. Since when do you want somebody nice? You're just going to look for more troubled kids. Yeah. Dean is not a troubled kid.
Well, you could try to corrupt Dean. Have we ever seen Dean smoking? No, because he's better at hiding it.
Right. It's usually the corrupt one that corrupts the other one. It's not, they don't.
Yeah, but it was just funny how Dean did not appear in this episode at all. His name wasn't uttered, did not appear. This poor guy.
That's true. He didn't even come in for coffee in the morning like sometimes he does. Yeah.
Comes in for coffee at 6 a.m. before school. Who are these people?
I know.
Yeah.
In all fairness, the school is right across the street. So we'll give them
right.
that. But I want to get back to Jess, but I also want to go to, we're back at school.
Speaking of school, we're back at school. It's the first day of school.
And I know you love Paris, and she's all over this.
Paris is all over it with her like snotty snark face. And we find out they're working on the school paper. I think we knew that. The Franklin is the school paper. And they trick Rory into going late to the meeting. Rory gives
this was Paris.
This was Paris, but the other two didn't say, wait a minute, I thought it was 3:15. Because they heard her say that. But like Rory gives Paris a whole speech about how we just need to be able to like tolerate each other to get the best darn paper in the world. And Paris like seems moved by that. It's very funny. I'm like, really? That would do it? She's like, you're right. We do want to make a good paper. It's so stupid.
Yes.
It's so awkward.
She was just being super villainous because she's like, you're right. Let's meet at 4 when it really starts at 3:15. So she was only playing that she was
right.
Agreeing
yeah, that's
with
that's a good point. That's
it only pushed
but she doesn't want to collapse the paper either. Like she also wants a good paper.
Yeah, but look how far she's willing to go, that she gives a stupid first of all, she gives Madeline, we learned this from the other episode, Madeline's going to do the music, even though the music section, even though Rory is very big on music, knows all of it. So she is willing to throw Rory under the bus in order to maybe get her to quit.
Right.
So she's not thinking of herself either. That's what Rory's trying to do. She's like, think of yourself. You are the editor of this. Like,
Right.
don't you want this to happen?
Right. But Paris knows all the stats on like who has worked at this paper and won a Pulitzer, and like she's has a high standard for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And remember from a couple of episodes ago, we learned that Paris does like 43 extracurricular activities.
Yes.
And like, so this is just one of many, many, many things that she's doing besides school to better herself. I don't know. It's a lot. So she's doing the most. She's like wasting the energy. And I think Rory was right. She's like, you're going to waste your energy on torturing me when you could just like use that energy to make a better paper.
And what did Paris do? She wasted more energy.
Yeah.
She kept trying to get Rory to fail. It is unbelievable how much she purposefully and actionably tries to get Rory to
right. It's just sabotage. And like the teacher doesn't, I mean, I know like this in this school, nobody says like, no, Paris said to come at 4. Right. Nobody does that because that looks, you don't want to be a narc. You can't be a tattletale. So I don't know. She just takes it on the chin and like sits down, but then she writes like a stellar report.
I still want to read that report on the pavement. I want to read it so bad.
I want to be moved.
Yeah.
There is a difference between concrete and cement.
Oh, and I'm already moved to tears. That is just, what could you possibly write?
I'd be like, we paved over a parking lot, paved over paradise and put up a parking lot. Like, ooh. That's a Joni Mitchell line. I think it's Joni Mitchell. Shoot. Now I don't know, but that's a line from a song.
Paradise, put up a parking lot. There was a remix with the Counting Crows, I believe, but it was not the original. I don't remember the original.
Damn it.
They'll have to share that with us in the comments.
Okay. Oh, yes. I'm going to look stupid. But anywho, so you could start with that and then go on to be like, what cement? I don't know. Let's not write her paper. Yeah. It's going to be really boring. But,
So when going back to Jess and Luke meeting, he's such a bad boy that he doesn't need a key to come back.
Right.
He's
implying that he's just going to break in each time, or implying that he's never coming home.
You know what? I never thought of never coming home. I thought it was implying that he can get into anywhere because he knows how to pick locks and stuff.
Oh, okay. Or I thought it was that Luke is always either upstairs or downstairs. So like Luke's always going to be.
That.
But that's what Luke said. He's like, I work downstairs and I live upstairs.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the diner. And then he goes up and he's like, this is the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. But yes, I thought it implied lockpicking as well.
Yeah.
But what a badass. And then he like unpacks his bag, but just dumping it onto the boat bed.
And in all fairness, when his mom calls, did you hear? Because I feel for Jess so much. Liz calls and Luke goes, yeah, he got here okay. And you hear Jess going, I got here at 10 a.m. And it's, I don't know if you clocked it, it's dark out.
Right. It's now 10 p.m. Yep.
I'm like, oh, hi, little boy. You actually said that. You know, like we're forgetting that he's not an adult yet. And even if he was, he would just have turned into an adult. Like he's so little at that point. And I just feel for him.
All right. You're on Team Jess. Got it.
And then in this episode, I don't see how you can be, how you cannot feel for this little boy. I don't know. Meanwhile, Rory is getting it from what's her face, the Paris and Paris posse. And I like the way Rory deals with Paris. I would not be able to do that. Would you?
No, I would just avoid her. And like, I wouldn't make a scene about it, but I would probably just like not try to be in the room with her as little as possible. But Rory confronts it head on like a couple of times in this episode. But this is also to set up that she runs into Max. And this is the first we've seen of Max for like 35 episodes. Mm-hmm. Where has he been? We didn't know if I assumed he had died because of how well, like we didn't see a breakup.
He died of a broken heart.
The wedding was just off. And we never knew when he found out, how he found out, what his reaction was. It was just wild. But all we know is what we see, and that is that Rory and Max run into each other, and they both awkwardly run the other direction.
Now, I'll give it to Rory. She gets to run the other direction. She gets to be a kid. She gets to not know what to do. But Max being that flustered and turning around, and then, of course, Paris sees it and becomes even more evil somehow.
Yes, we see Paris's evil, sneaky face looking at it, and she clocks that, the mom. How does she know that means that they broke up?
It doesn't. See, she didn't say, did they break up? But it's obvious that
there's tension.
Yeah, I mean, what could have happened if Rory and Max physically ran away from each other like they were cartoons?
Right.
It's very weird. And by the way, I have a quote from Rory to Paris, which I would never be able to say, but in my mind, in the shower, I have probably run lines like this. She said, no matter how many crappy, stupid, useless assignments you throw at me, I'm not going to quit. And I'm not going to back down. So you can go home tonight and you could think about the fact that no matter what you do and no matter how evil you are, at the end of the year on my high school transcript, it's going to say that I worked on the Franklin. Mm-hmm. I have never, as a teenager, been able to be so articulate and so angry and so calm at the same time that I can confront my bully who is actively trying to destroy my high school career. And that's all I care about in life. And just seamlessly tear her down and keep it moving.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know. She's brave. She's so brave. I wouldn't have had the courage to do that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been able to handle any comeback if she was like, well, you're ugly. I would have been like devastated. If Paris had whatever her comeback was.
She was like, even if she wasn't like, you're ugly, it could have been like, is that really your hair?
Right. Or like, you wearing the same shoes? Or just like something so cutting and like not even that bad. Like, do you
even wash your face?
Oh my God. Yeah. So I would have had to say something biting and then run away because I can't handle a comeback.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I just can't do it.
You're right. I couldn't even handle the come forth, let alone the come back.
Exactly. I would just avoid her. That's
yeah. I would just be quiet and just. And I would hate myself for being quiet. I would have liked myself more being confrontational in that regard.
But also Paris stayed mad all summer over the PJ Harvey tickets thing that
I
Tristan.
Think Paris is upset about her life. And then she's upset about her life with Tristan. She's upset about her life with Rory. She's upset about her life with her parents. She's upset about everything that happens to her. And she's very competitive. And here comes this flawless.
They spent the whole summer working on houses together. We didn't see any of that, of them like, pass me the hammer. Okay. And then they get along. I don't know. It's a weird grudge.
And I think you're right. But speaking of extracurriculars, one of the listeners on YouTube said that, hey, she's worried about extracurriculars, but let's not forget that she participates in all the Stars Hollow events where she volunteers and helps out and, is a pilgrim and is whatever they need her to do. That could be her extracurriculars. And I never really thought of that. So I thought it was a really good point.
Yeah.
And also before Lorelai meets Jess, because I really think this is like one of my favorite and least favorite scenes of all of Gilmore Girls. We want to say a big thanks to new Gilmore Girls friends. We have two new Gilmore friends, TJ and Sid. And what's funny is Sid
the name of the
title.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Sid, where's your Nancy? Oh, Sid is so tired of hearing that. I swear.
Well, TJ, much appreciated. Sid, thank you very much. We so appreciate you both for supporting our Patreon. We hope that you're enjoying the behind the scenes, the chats that are now available. By the way, that last episode, you all heard us go, and we're back because we had some technical difficulties. We left those technical difficulties in there. So Carrie, you didn't see what happened because you dropped off. So you just see me sitting there going like, talking to our producer, but you can't see our producer. And I'm just like, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So all the behind the scenes, we chat before and after the episode. You guys get all that.
Yeah, you get the inside scoop on what happened.
Yes.
Magic of editing, though, it is pretty flawless, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Like it turned out good, but yes, we had technical issues.
That was scary. But yeah, if you all want to participate in our Patreon, we really appreciate it. You can check it out, Gilmore Friends on Patreon, and you can always look for more information on gilmorefriends.com. Let's have Lorelai meet Jess.
I love this. I wrote Lorelai meets Jess, and Jess is like, and being like a surly teenager, he's more realistic to what I think teenagers are like than Rory is to me.
Yes.
But he's sort of giving her this eye rolling, like, what are you bothering me for attitude?
Yep.
And she's like, what does she say to him? Welcome.
She's trying to be cute, and I don't like, let's see. Luke's home, Jess the smoker, gambler, the neglected. I love what I wrote about him. Well, I don't know. She's basically saying, she's just trying to say hi, welcome. Oh yeah, she says something like, I just wanted to say hi before Luke could say some ridiculous things about me, as if this kid cares. You know, this kid has been kicked out of his home and is not interested in your cute BS.
He does not give a shit about you, Lorelai.
And you should know about this.
Have you ever tried to engage teenagers who don't want to engage with you? It's amazing.
You don't do it.
No, I've done it. I've made this mistake. I was at my boyfriend's siblings' house, and they have a teenage son, and that kid who talks to me because I'm sort of auntie, but the teenager had friends over. And I tried to say hi to the friends, and like they were very confused. They were more confused than like aggressive. They were just like, why is this woman talking to me? And I was like, I'm talking to you because we're in the same room. I don't know. Like, I didn't have a good reason to talk to them. I was just being friendly. And they were just like, what is happening? It was really funny.
Yeah, because no matter what, you're old, you're a cornball.
Yep.
You have nothing to say. You're gonna try to say words like Riz and like 6'7", and you're just gonna fall flat.
I don't ever use the term 6'7".
No,
that's kind of your thing. You kind of picked up 6'7".
No, I didn't.
Because we're not supposed to. It's not for us. Like by the time we're saying it, it's not cool anymore. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like at this age, we know some people who have 16, 17-year-olds. And for me, I'm like, I say hello. If you have anything to say, you go first. And I just go, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me more if you want. And I just kind of back up off them because no one wants to talk to you. They hardly want to talk to each other, especially with all of this technology nowadays.
Right.
But,
see, I try to give curveball questions to teenagers. Like I try to ask a teenager something that no one else has ever asked them before in their life. You know?
Not how's school.
No, not how's school. Favorite subject. What do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, if you were a tomato, what would your name be?
Like, oh my God.
Get away from me.
Oh my God.
Like, you know, something like that.
Oh my God.
Because you're boring just based on the fact that you're being an adult.
Yeah.
So like if you're just going to do something like non-threatening but off the wall just to break them out of the script.
What was the response to such a question?
I don't know. I've never asked that before.
Okay, good.
I asked that to you.
No, I don't even know how to answer that.
See? But it broke your script. You weren't like, school's fine. You know?
I don't know. Like what folks who have teenagers or like we have been teenagers, what could be the question?
I once went up to a teenager that I was being introduced to and I went, hi. Can you imagine if I was like that? Just to be weird. And then I said, can you imagine if you know what I mean? Like I said that I did the whole thing. And they were like, what the hell? And I was like, yep.
That's horrible.
Because you're not going to win. We can't win. They're smarter than us.
Even now, I'm trying to think of what to say. And that's why I stay quiet around teenagers. I'm just like, because, okay, when I was a teenager, if you asked me what I had extracurriculars, I would stay after school for dance and things like that. And I was in the show and all that stuff. And I went out. But if you asked me anything about it and my parents were around, I would shy away because I'm like, well, I can't tell you the whole story. You know, a lot of, you know what they used to talk to us about? Like, so do you like any boys? And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Just
I'd be like,
shut up.
What are they calling pot now? What's the new term for weed? We called it weed. Pot is sort of outdated, but like sort of universal. But is there a new term? We just heard that it's Riz. But like I just want to know, like, oh, you're 17. What are they calling pot now? What's the new lingo for pot?
I would hate you. I hate you.
I would make something up. If an adult said that to me, I'd be like,
no.
Oh, we're calling it Tinseltown now.
You're so gross. Shut up.
All right.
The only thing that you could say to teenagers is, here's some money. Go do what you do.
Right. Well,
Can I drive you anywhere? Like, just shut up.
I once showed my phone to a teenager and she asked me if she could fix my background because it was ugly on my phone. And she meant it. I don't think she meant to insult me, but she's like, what's wrong with your phone? Can I fix it for you? And I was like, oh, I took that picture. It was so hurtful. I was like, they're better than us.
That's terrible.
But I let her fix it because what am I going to do? I got nothing.
I think the only thing that you could say is like, I was around a teenager who I know read a lot. So I asked like what they're reading recently, you know, or what's a show you're watching? What's a game you're playing?
Right. Because
then that's their level of expertise. It's the thing that they spend the most time with. And it's like an innocent way to spend time. It's not, what clubs are you going to?
I'm like, why would a good God do awful things to people? How do you know Christianity's the one? You know? I'm like, just fix my phone, whatever.
So now Lorelai meets Jess. He's being monosyllabic, which is like fully understandable. She's bringing in the cheese as if she was actually a rebellious teenager. We remember when Chris came into the show, she talked about how he crashed his Porsche for funsies and she was there. And she talked about her life being, you know, anti what her parents were. And she hated when people were up in her face about stuff. And here she was, she's like, I just wanted to talk to you before. Shut up.
Yeah. What are you doing? Up. I know. It's very confusing.
Then Jess goes upstairs and she says to Lorelai, first of all, you can see not how messed up, but like, you could see that he's messed up a little bit, that Jess is messed up. So she turns to Luke and says, hey, how about you invite him to, you and him come to my place. Sookie will cook. First of all, excuse me.
She volunteered Sookie to cook, but not attend.
But like she's attending, but it's like, oh, so Sookie doesn't have a life. She doesn't have plans with her boyfriend. She doesn't have anything to do. So she's cooking, fine. And then also, so her whole thing is come over to my place so we can show him that this town is full of cool people. As if you guys are cool. He opens the door and Jess comes in and Sookie's like, taste this lemon. This lemon's great. These are people from hell.
Yep.
We might like them
Jackson doesn't, Sookie at least says hi first. Jackson does not say hi, Jess, nice to meet you. No, he goes, this is the best lemon on earth. Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, then taste this lemon. Like, again, with this, like, you have no people skills at all.
And not just that, Jess is not going to have problems with food. His uncle owns and runs a diner.
Right.
Like, he's not looking for the next best burger, meatloaf, whatever the hell amount of food you have. He doesn't care. And a lot of times we didn't care about food. We had pizza and we kept it moving. So I don't know why you think your dazzling personality is going to win over someone who's in the middle of such heartache about his entire existence, who just showed up. So anyway, I just want to say, like, Sookie cooked. She wants to make grilled cheese. She made pot roast, chicken wings, mashed potatoes, 4 different kinds of salad. This is what adults look forward to.
Right, exactly. No 17-year-old wants to have dinner with like 4 adults and like, yeah.
And one kid his age. But he met her and he was like, already a bad influence if I may be old again.
Yep.
He wanted to run out her window, which is, by the way, what Lorelai used to do.
Yes.
She used to open her window and leave, not even from the first floor. So luckily, Rory's like, where are we going to? The 24-hour mini mart already closed. They talk about books. He says he doesn't really read much, but it's the first time you saw him be a person. And,
right. It's the first time he said anything more than 1 syllable at a time.
Which, doesn't that make sense?
Did we already walk in on him playing with a deck of cards and smoking a cigarette at this? It's so funny because the direction was like, all right, we got to show that he's a bad boy. So like, what do bad teenagers do? Well, they smoke cigarettes. Okay. And the other thing he's doing is shuffling a deck of cards aggressively. That was weird.
But let's be real also. When I see teenagers now, like the teenagers that I used to see that would intimidate me, that would wear certain things and, have a cigarette in their mouth and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, they're so mature and they're so cool. And they're so, even if I didn't think they were the kind of cool that I wanted to be around or that I thought that was cool, they're still cool and somehow edgy and all of that stuff. When we see them now, that's what they look like. They look like they're aggressively playing with cards.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Awkwardly smoking a cigarette.
Can I tell you the most terrifying teenagers I've seen in the last couple of years? It was like 5 teenagers got on the train, the subway, that is, and didn't say a word and didn't take out their phones. It was 5 quiet teenagers looking around on a subway. I have never been more terrified in my life. When they're horsing around, when they're giggling and laughing and punching each other, that's fine. When they're all like numb on their phones, that's fine. But these teenagers were doing neither. It was horrifying.
Yeah.
What are they up to?
Yeah. The teenager that's trying to be in your face with the smoking and stuff, you kind of like your heart just kind of breaks for them.
No, it doesn't. I'm just like, I was there. I remember.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, I remember that there was nothing an adult could say that would make me feel stupid about it. Because adults are stupid. Right. So you don't care what they say. So if I'm like, you better quit smoking, it's bad. Like, shut up. It's not going to work. Like, don't, I don't feel bad for them. I just remember what it was like. I remember that I'm a prop. Like adults were just sort of in the world in my way, like they were objects to me. So like, I don't sweat it. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, in the same scene as, Lorelai meeting Jess, she also Rory comes back and she reveals that her and Max saw each other and she ran the other way. And she thought her mother wanted that for her.
Yeah.
It just, again, talks about Lorelai
not talking. They had a chance to talk about this in a bed and breakfast, and Lorelai didn't want to talk about it. So now Rory thinks that Lorelai wants her to be mean to Max.
Oh my God, that's true.
Because Rory tried to talk about it. And Lorelai finally says, Max isn't a part of my life anymore, out loud, to where I was like, this is the first we're hearing confirmation of this. Because they broke up. I didn't know if they were getting back together. I didn't know if they were going to do a we're not getting married, but we're not breaking up thing.
And why didn't you talk to Rory?
Why didn't you say anything to Rory a minute ago?
If you knew that this was her lit teacher. Like, I thought maybe he wasn't going to be her teacher this semester.
This semester she doesn't. Right. But no, they're still going to see each other every day. It's so painful. It's so awkward.
Yeah. So it kind of brings me to, there's a section that I wrote is Lorelai a good mother? Now, ultimately, I think she is, because I think to be a good parent, you just have to like not kill the kid. Like, just, don't neglect it enough. The
bar is pretty low.
It is, but it is, because you just have to like have good intentions and have a threshold to not mess up too much. And I don't think Lorelai is suffocating this kid. She's messing up a little, but
no. But as Luke says somewhere in this episode,
yes.
Do you ever think with Rory, you just got lucky? And sometimes you just get lucky, and sometimes you could be the best parent in the world, and you still have a messed up kid because you just got unlucky. It's like there's just stuff you can control, and there's stuff you can't control. Yeah, and sometimes you just have a different disposition for a kid.
When you think about it, anytime Rory kind of stepped away from what Lorelai said to do, Lorelai lost her mind, just like her mother did, just like Luke did, like just like any other parent that she knew did. When Rory didn't want to go to the school after all, she's like, well, now you're going to do what I do. When what I say, when Rory came home late from the dance, she thought that she was sleeping with Dean. She's like, you're going on the pill. That's not a person that stays chill and says like, hey, I was really worried about you. Do you need to go on the pill? Do we need to talk about, like, that's not your best friend. That's your mom, just like any other mom.
Nothing happened, Mrs. Gilmore. But yeah.
So now Jess wants to run away. Rory just says, hey, give it a chance. But what does Jess do? He takes a beer from the fridge and disappears.
Oh my God, I wrote this down. It's so funny.
So what did you...
He takes a beer from the fridge. She's like, I'm going to grab a soda. Do you want one? He says, no, I'll get one. He goes to the fridge. He takes out a beer. He leaves. And he doesn't leave.
Yeah.
He leaves and stands on the porch. So he's not a bad boy. He wanted to be found. He wanted someone to talk to him. It was ridiculous. You really don't want to be there, but you want everyone to know you don't want to be there and come out and find you. Otherwise, he would have left.
So like I said, don't you kind of like, now that we know what stupid little rebellious teenagers really are, don't we all just want someone to be like, hey, I'm not going to try to tell you that this is good. The stuff that you're going through, I'm not going to tell you I could even heal that or make it better right now.
If someone had said that to me as a teen, I would have laughed in their face.
So that's the thing. So I wouldn't even do that. I would just be like, no,
what? I would have let him have the beer.
It's not up to you.
He took it. He took it out of my fridge. And like, if I'm going to go tattle on him, I mean, maybe a 17-year-old just wants to drink a freaking beer and to be treated like a human.
I'm okay with that, but I'm not the guardian of this person, and it's my house. So I'm going to be responsible if this kid is underage and drinking.
So then you're going to like take the beer away, and then you're just another one of the like lame-o adults who doesn't let him.
But you get to take a beer away only because
Luke let him smoke. Can get in trouble.
True.
You're not supposed to be smoking either.
That's true. I think that she could have just been like, oh, that's where you are. And then Luke can handle it but it is her house. You're doing something that I can get in trouble with the police in my house.
How? Come on, write that out. How would that happen? How would Lorelai get in trouble for letting a boy in her house have a beer?
I mean, I hear
What's the scenario?
I think my father would have let me have a beer.
Right.
I think he would, because my father has...
But even the police could come over and see that you're drinking a beer?
No, but if he gets drunk and he does something and he has blood alcohol, whatever, you can get in trouble. He's under your jurisdiction. You're responsible for him.
I think the plot twist that would have to lead to Lorelai getting in trouble with the law for letting Jess have a beer in her house is a leap that I'm not willing to take. But I agree. Okay. It's not her kid. It is her house, though, and it is her beer. So she could say that's for me. And she did it as gracefully as she could, which was like, thank him for opening it for her.
That was cute.
And then take it out of her hand rather than saying, why are you drinking? Which would have led nowhere. So she's halfway there, She was until she started talking beyond that. Yeah. I think her little speech about This town's pretty great if you give it a chance. And he goes, are you banging him? It's so great.
That was great.
Because I was thinking it too. I'm like, she's speaking like.
Also, like, you're saying things like Luke is so special.
He's really special.
Up.
Yeah.
What makes you think a teenager's going to respond to Luke is so special?
Yeah.
Why aren't you? Because she was way more rebellious than the both of us were. We didn't run away from home.
No.
We didn't.
But I was more of a Rory. I could talk to adults when I was a kid. Like, I didn't have any fear of adults when I was a child. I could just talk to grown-ups.
I did. I had so much trouble talking to adults. And you should thank your lucky stars or something. I can't believe I just said that phrase. But to not be able to talk to adults is it's such a curse. I lost my mind around. Like, I actually couldn't find my mind when adults were trying to talk to me. And it's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling. And I had the same thing around, quote, mixed company, because boys were made to be such a big deal when I grew up, because it's like my mom clocked every time a boy got near me. She would make me feel uncomfortable about it. Like, oh, were you talking to that boy? Oh, that boy, what did he say to you? Like, oh, that boy, you were dancing with him. How come he has his hand here, there, or the other place? Just all of that made every time I talked to a boy, I was like, it was made to be too much.
Right.
So, but I was so disappointed in Lorelai, the way she talked to Jess, because she should understand how much he didn't want to hear that Luke is special. And I thought he was so kid appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
like that is exactly
It's
what
exactly,
you get.
I know. There's a teenager in the writer's room where he was like, you banging him? What are you talking about?
Good.
And then she goes, how does the fight start between her and
Luke?
And Luke.
She comes back in and she says, hey, I think Jess is more messed up than you think. And he goes, where is this coming from? And she says something like, I just tried talking to him. And he goes, what are you doing talking to him?
Yeah.
I don't need you to talk to him. And she said, hey, he took a beer. I didn't even bust him on it. And he gave me attitude. And he goes, well, maybe you should mind your own business. I'm sick of you being condescending. He's my nephew. And you think you just, because you had a kid, you know everything. And she's like, well, because I have a kid, I know something. I know more than you. And that's when he says, maybe you got lucky with Rory, which I think is both true and also rude and inappropriate. But I think that he is saying, like, hey, stop being the know-it-all. This is not helpful to me. Oh, but he also, not only did he say you got lucky with Rory, he said, you did get pregnant at 16.
Yes,
that doesn't show the greatest decision-making skills now, does it?
Right.
Sir.
Right. And ouch. And that's a sore spot. And now you sound like my mom. And like, that's not a good thing to say to Lorelai. Absolutely not.
That's a little below the belt.
A little below the belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which means she doesn't get a Danish on Danish Day.
I know, so stupid. So stupid. That scene.
You hate that stuff.
She's like, go in there and get a Dana. And Rory is the adult. And she's like, just apologize. It's Danish Day. So stupid. There's no other coffee in this town. She can't go home and brew a pot. We know she has a coffee maker. She can't make it. Only Luke has coffee. It's so stupid. All right.
I mean, people have their special coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
and then Rory does get the Max assignment. Now, don't you feel for Rory, who really wants to be on the school paper, who really wants to be a writer, who really wants to participate and doesn't want to back away from Paris. So she takes the Max Medina assignment. And once again, I'm so disappointed with Max and how he doesn't know how to behave in general or around children, even though he was voted the best teacher by students.
This is the best they got, is Max Medina. Ew. Also,
in their private school.
Their interview was really boring. Also, I don't believe anything that Max says at all.
Right.
I don't believe his middle name is Alejandro or whatever he said it was.
Arturo.
I don't care about Max's backstory. I just wanted to get to, like, she's like, I was looking forward to you being my stepfather. Frickin' why?
I don't know. You know
why?
there's some characters that you get the chemistry between them, you get the love between them. I never got anything between Max and anybody.
No.
But in that moment, I felt it where she said, "I really wanted you to be my stepfather," and he said, I really wanted to be your stepfather." I thought that was the only time that he said something like in inequality of sweet, not, although I think he's so good at words, he could have come up with something better than that. But she was such a kid. And also, sorry, but this is all Lorelai's fault. She put them in that scenario where they had to say something like that between the two of them. But also, when Rory even walked into the room, she said, "I'm not sure how to behave." Max says, "I'm not sure either." Well, figure it out, Max, because you're the adult. You're the teacher. You were going to be someone's stepfather. You didn't know what to say when she walked into the room.
Well, he was ready to dad her and be like, she can't be on the porch after 11 p.m. And it's like,
you had weeks to figure out how to deal with this.
And why was she looking for, I don't understand. Like, what did she think his role in her life was going to be? Rory? Keep mom occupied while I have my boyfriend?
Well, I think she saw her mother getting married as this really nice life event that she gets to participate in. But I don't know. I think I'm just trying to make it nice because Rory usually tells the truth and she wanted him to be the stepfather. I think she enjoyed having a father figure or something. I don't know.
It was lame.
It was.
But I mean, I'm glad we finally saw that Max is alive. And that
we know the relationship now.
We know what happened. I mean, I guess he got his apartment back. We don't know. They like loose ends of like this breakup.
I mean, it is Gilmore Girls and not, what happens to the guys that they break up with.
I know, but these are things that like I think about in a show.
I do too.
That like he doesn't seem that broken up about it. And
who's he going to be broken up to? But
he's going to cry to Rory and be like, "Tell your mom I'm crying."
He would.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be lame.
Well, we did learn that he wanted to be a clown, which I had been, which is a lot of fun.
Again, I don't think he's telling the truth.
I agree with you. Well, as soon as you said that, I'm like, that's true. The whole Arturo named after the butcher. I'm like, so your dad was the butcher? Like, what's happening here? Is this the rated PG version of what really is in your life? But we did get the clown story from Rory, and I want to touch on that for just a second because Rory said that her mother, Lorelai, took her to the circus and she bought her cotton candy and a clown bumped into her. The cotton candy fell on the floor and they couldn't afford to buy another one. So Lorelai ran onto the stage as if she wouldn't be tackled by someone, by security, and thrown out. She ripped the guy's wig off, which is not easy to do for a clown. And then insisted the guy buy her a cotton candy, which he did twice as big as the first one. So she threw up all the way home. Now, what a weird scenario. And who is the writer who never met a clown in their life? That's one. Number two is it triggered a story that I am now going to tell.
Did you knock a can? Okay, sorry.
No.
Please tell me. I like that. I love your clowning stories so much.
This is different. This is my mother used to take us to Ringling Brothers, and which I'm sure was plenty of money just to get in. And then I saw that the clowns, actual clowns, were face painting kids into clowns. And I was like, yo, I want that. And my mom was like, no, I'm not paying $20. I think it was $20 at the time, which was like $100 now. I'm not paying $20 so this guy can draw some sort of weird stuff on your face. She ended up buying face painting because it was cheaper. Painted my face. I have a picture of myself somewhere here. And it was, it wasn't like, it didn't look professional, but she did a pretty good job.
That's really sweet. That's a nice memory.
It is. And I knew enough to be like, not to say something like, not you, the clowns,
right. Or it doesn't look the same.
Yeah. I knew enough to be like, this is as good as it gets. And I'm not even going to say anything like this is as good as it gets. I'm going to be like, she gave me what I wanted. I wanted to be face painted like a clown and I got to be. And what she didn't know was it was foreshadowing.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, as a kid, we used to go to Jerusalem to the Wailing Wall. I don't know if people know this. The Wailing Wall is what was left of a synagogue that got exploded, or, history did its thing to it. And so it's now a sacred piece of history, which a lot of Jerusalem is. Jesus is over there. The Wailing Wall is over here. There's a lot of history and religion for people in that space. Jews take a piece of paper, put their wish on it, their prayer on it, and then put it into the wall. As a kid, I did it, and I want a magic wand.
Whoa.
And I put it into the wall, and like, it's kind of like a Wishmaster thing where it's like, careful what you wish for.
Yes.
So I wanted to just go like, I get everything I want. But what I got was, I was a kids party entertainer for 12 years.
And you had a magic wand?
A magic wand, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I know. You can't, the Wishmaster is sneaky, sneaky like that. Like, You're like, what did I wish for? I wanted to lose weight. So I got dumped and then couldn't eat because I was so upset. And then I lost weight. And I was like, not like that. Like,
right.
So like, I lost the weight and, the boyfriend.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't. You have to be very specific. You'd be like, I want money, but not in a sneaky way. I want to like earn it.
Right. I don't want money to land on my head and now I have, half a brain or something.
Right. Like, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you'll get a huge settlement, but right. I don't know. No, I don't want the sneaky settlement money where I can't walk or,
I want to know if people have had Wishmaster moments like that in their life. If you had the Wishmaster, I want to be, I want to be well fed, and suddenly you were like, too much somehow. I don't know.
Right. You get the ironic wish granting in some way. I know.
What was your Wishmaster wish? Okay. So is Lorelai good with kids? Did she just get lucky? No Danish for you. The Max interview. Now, is Jess a thief?
So he gets the call. Luke gets the call from Taylor, who said, we don't hear Taylor's end, but he's like, I'm going to ask him if he did it. And if he didn't do it, if he says he didn't do it, he doesn't think he did it. Well, he kind of thinks he did it, but he's also going to give Jess a chance to explain or deny it or give the money back or whatever. So then we have this baffling scene where Jess exits the high school holding nothing. No pencil. We realize that Jess has been enrolled in school somehow.
Well, I mean,
it's been a day. Okay.
Could it be that hard to enroll a kid in school? They have to go to school.
I don't think Jess would go to school. Like, why wouldn't he cut school? I don't know. So, I mean, I would have. But anyway, so he comes out of the school and he's like, so Mr. Stinky said that he saw you take the thing of money. Did you do it? Oh, and I said you would never do it. Never do that. And Jess was like, what are you saying? And he's like, did you take it? And he's like, no, you don't sound very convincing. And then, I don't know, it gets to you leave me alone. But as they're walking.
Wait, but he says, see, this is, again, I feel for Jess. I have the quote. He says, what do you want from me? You bring me here to this place. You put me into a school that says the Pledge of Allegiance in 6 different languages, 2 of which I've never heard of, which still to this day, I'm like, what are we talking about here? You take me away from my home, my friends, and now you want what from me? Stop trying. Stop talking to me. Stop following me. Stop asking me questions. Just stop. Don't you feel for a kid who's saying that?
I don't think Luke did all of those things.
Who does Jess have to blame?
His mother.
But that's the adult. You don't get to call your mother, so you have to put it on Luke.
Okay. But he's saying like, you did this, you did this, you did this. Luke's like, I don't think, I mean, he's just blaming the first adult he sees.
Who do you blame? Who
your
do you
mother.
Give that to?
You say like, I don't want to be here. My mom sent me here. This is garbage. This is trash. I'm 18 in 4 months. Why am I just have to tolerate you for 4 months. And like, I don't care if you think I stole something.
I mean, what's the difference between that expression and the thing that he's expressing?
Because one is accusatory. And
yes, but he's not doing well. So how do you express yourself well when you're not doing well and no one has taught you how to express yourself. And this person is still just up your butt about stuff. But like just does that make sense? Or
I guess so. I mean, I could see him saying, leave me alone. I don't want to be here and I don't want to talk to you. But him saying like, you brought me here, you enrolled me in a school, blah, blah, blah. And like, why don't you want to learn 5 other languages? I don't know. But yeah, I think this scene was very weird for me because I don't think Luke had anything to do with his coming.
I don't know how you expect teenagers to point their hatred exactly on the right thing. They're just messed up.
But that doesn't mean you have no idea what's happening to you. He has an idea of what's happening to him. He just doesn't he's like, my mom sent me here and it sucks and I don't want to be here.
But why would you be able to express yourself well? Wouldn't you be blaming the wrong people? Isn't that what,
I guess so, but I think you could just stick it to like, leave me alone. Why isn't he saying leave me alone?
Isn't he stop trying, stop talking to me, stop following me, stop asking me
questions? No, the beginning of that. You brought me here, you enrolled me in a school, like blah blah blah. And like,
but as according to a teenager, isn't everybody at fault
so
here?
Jess has no idea that his mom is involved with why he's there.
He doesn't like her either, but now you did this to me also. You agreed to it. You brought me here. You accepted this. You are now up my butt. Now you're the guy. What do you want from me?
Right. And then he's like, I just want to be left alone. But also, did you notice where they walked?
Mm-hmm.
They went from a small town to like into the woods. They walk into the wood. They're on a dirt path. Not a paved path, a dirt path. And they come up against a little wooden pier walkway, and they're walking across this pier. I laughed out loud. This was so great and so completely unexpected. I did not see it coming. They have this little fight. They start walking toward the thing, and Luke just pushes him into the lake. And it was the last thing I was expecting. It was so great. So that's why they had to walk that awkward way, so that we could get them to this water feature.
Yes. And I was staring at you during this because I knew that was coming. And it's one of my favorite things and one of a lot of people's favorite things. And I was ready to be like, don't look down. And I'm so glad I didn't have to, so it could take you by total surprise. And also from doing some research about, the trivia that's coming up in a bit, I know that it's so interesting what you notice, because you noticed the right thing. They went from the school to the middle of nowhere. According to the key set designer, they had this rolling bush thing that they would put in front of sets so that you can get from one scene to the next, and they blocked whatever's behind it.
Uh-huh.
So they brought us to this other scene.
They did it.
Yes.
And I was like, they just walk through the woods. So random. Like, where's all the streetlights and stuff that's next to the school? We don't have that. I mean, the minute I heard that Luke has a 17-year-old nephew, I was like, well, he's going to date Rory. I still think that. Okay. I'm like, you brought in another teenager. What's going to happen? Unless we'll see.
Right.
But I'm sorry. But that's where it feels like it's going.
She's still, even though we didn't see Dean, she's still dating him.
Yeah, but he's not out of sight, out of mind. I mean, is he dead? We don't see some of these characters for episodes and episodes. And again, and I mentioned this the beginning of season 1, it's not that he needs to be in every episode but in the last episode in the B&B, when they asked if she had a boyfriend and she said yes. So I was like, okay, so in this universe of this singular episode, she still has a boyfriend. And they never mention a character that's not on screen, that's not in the episode.
I mean, Emily's not in this.
I know.
She's still around.
Emily's not in this. We didn't find out what the wedding gift was. Are they still mad at Lorelai?
Yeah, I think I see. I like that about this show. You don't have to stick.
I
Emily
know,
and Richard
but then
in
you can
everything.
forget a character has a boyfriend entirely when that was a huge plot point 2 episodes ago. You think the show is about that, and
But
it's
she
not.
still does other things. She
I
went
know,
to school,
and one of the things she does is she's writing for the school paper, and she's getting to know this bad boy nephew who is going to date. Okay, we'll get to my predictions later. But then Luke, it was so funny to me. Luke pushes him into the lake and then goes screaming. They still hadn't made up. So he goes to Lorelai's house and she's like, hey. And he's like, I pushed him into the lake. He's just freaking out. He could still be in the lake. He's like, oh, he's fine. I mean, he's wet, but he's fine. And then he goes on a rant and he says something that I've said my whole life. And I don't know if maybe I got it from someone who watched this show or if I had an independent thought. But Luke says he doesn't like children because their hands are sticky. And I have said that for like 20 years as my main defense for why don't you have kids? And I point to kids' hands are sticky. And I can't spend all day and all night wiping hands, someone else's hands. It's so visceral to me that when you meet a 3-year-old and they touch you, there's goo. There's like a goo that comes off them. And did I get that? Did I get that from someone who got that from this show? Because I've never seen this show before.
This might be a universal.
This is a universal thing because kids have sticky hands. Everyone knows that.
He calls it jam hands.
They have jam on their hands at all times. It's true.
You should have seen Carrie's face, you dolls. You should have. She was like, I feel understood.
I feel seen.
I feel seen.
This Luke is speaking for me.
And we find out that Pierpont, the gnome, is gone.
Yes.
And then Babette can talk to the gnome.
Babette can talk to the gnome, which surprises no one. We all assumed she could. And Luke rushes right away to find it in the vicinity of his bad boy nephew, Jess, who stole the gnome for gnome reason. And he's like, I'm taking this gnome back. How do you spell the gnome's name?
Oh, I don't know. I wrote it phonetically, but it's French, Pierpont. So however you do that.
As in Pierpont?
Yeah.
Pierpont. Okay.
I don't know. But Luke, like, Lorelai reassures Luke that, hey, he can do it. You just might need to take it a little more seriously than you thought. You might need to open your eyes a little bit more than you knew. And of course, he offers her the Danish, even though it's not Danish Day. They're fine. And here's what. So Luke decides to take it seriously. He rushes into the door. And I wrote the list of things that Luke was now demanding.
Yep.
First of all, he gives the kid the patch, the gum, hypnosis tapes.
Do you know how dangerous that is?
Chinese herbs, self-help books, several pictures of diseased lungs to hang on the fridge. What, the gum? How dangerous what is?
The patches to give a kid.
Oh, it is? I don't know. I don't know much about
It's too much nicotine. But also, where in Stars Hollow did he get all of this, including Chinese herbs?
From the market.
Chinese herbs?
I don't know.
Hypnosis tapes? Pictures of lungs? Where you get that? I need pictures of lungs right now. We're both in major cities. Where would you go?
I don't know.
All right.
Okay. He says, no smoking. You will go to school. You will come home. You'll work in the diner until closing. You'll do your homework. You'll go to bed. On weekends, those are for chores and selected pre-approved outings. Here are the pre-approved outings that he came up off the top of his head. Some include Kabbalah studies.
Nice.
Okay. Freeway beautification projects. Color me mine pottery paintings. No stealing. You'll pay back Dosey. You will graduate. You will return Pierpont to his yard. And this is one of the things that I really liked how he phrased it. He said, I am not letting you fall off the face of the earth. You will not drift. I won't let it happen. Yeah. That was actually a really beautiful sentiment. And then Jess just left. Because he's still a teenager.
He just walks out. Care. He's like, where are you going? Out. And he's like, at least I asked this time.
Like you said, it's so much more realistic than this weird town and Rory the good girl and all of this stuff. We get it. And this is where Rory and Jess meet again.
They meet again, and this is with no adults or pretense around. And he's like, you came in, and finds out he stole a book from her.
Mm-hmm.
And
wrote in it.
What did he write in it?
He wrote notes in the margin, his thoughts.
Okay, so she flips it open, and I was like, why would you do that? That's weird.
I think that's for a person who likes books, I thought that she would feel invaded upon. Like,
right.
That's
exactly. That's invasive. That you wrote in my stuff. You stole it and then defaced it. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think it must be so fun for her to connect in that way. Like, she read it and she said, oh, you read this before. And now she gets to interact with someone who's interested in this.
Dean also reads.
He does, but she has to ask him to read certain books. And he kind of is like, I'm trying, you know?
Okay.
So yeah. I'm just saying, like, this is someone who has read this book 40 times that she really likes. And he gets the Dodger thing from Oliver Twist.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's not like she's enamored. She's just like, oh, that was fun. You know? I think that's fair. What did you think? Of
their little stupid interaction at the end?
Yeah. Can't tell how you feel.
I thought it was okay. I mean, they could be the influence the other one needs. Like, he could help her, like, loosen up and have fun, and she could help him. But she already has a guy who's, like, not going to college in her life. You know? Like, Dean was already I don't know. Where's Henry? Henry and Rory were going to study over the summer and fall in love with each other, and I blew that one. Why were they talking once?
Oh, now you do want her to be with Henry. Now that Jess is the alternate.
Now that we haven't had a Henry mention in like 7 episodes. This is the worst.
Wow, I cannot wait to hear your predictions, but I think that's the episode. We can go into trivia unless you have more thoughts that are just... I can't believe that we think differently about feeling for Jess. This is very interesting. I want to hear other.
Yeah, you have a maternal streak that I didn't know you had, and I relate more to being a teenager than to, like, you know.
But if you relate to being a teenager, why don't you feel for Jess?
I mean, I do feel for Jess,
mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I don't understand why a lot of what's happening around him is happening. I don't think he's really a bad boy, right? Because he didn't leave the porch, and he even got off the bus. If he was really a bad boy, he wouldn't have made it to Stars Hollow.
There are degrees. There's a spectrum, right?
I'm saying. So he's at least a good enough kid to, like, go to where he's told to go.
That's true.
But he's a stupid enough kid to think that this is all Luke's fault, which I really don't understand.
But don't you just pop off, like, as a misunderstood pushed around?
Yes, but you pop off with your current situation.
You're accurate about your pop-offs? Aren't you just mad?
Yes, but you say, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Also, you use the F word, which is never uttered on the show, which makes it I know, but I'm just saying, you want to, like, get furiously angry and never utter a foul word.
I know. I love that you can gamble, drink. Well, I guess they didn't let him drink, but you can gamble, drink. He had a cigarette in his mouth the whole time, and it was lit, right? Yep. But you can't say any curse words. Right. But that's TV. That's
TV. And I love it on cop shows. I notice it more on cop shows because I'm like, there's no way these, like, gritty cops, they're, like, running for their lives, and, like, they never say the F word. They're like, oh my God, that freaking bullet just almost hit me in the flipping head. Yeah, right. Anywho, so yes, so you're just saying that he's just directing anger at any of the adults around him.
I think when you're lost and angry and you're not in the habit of expressing yourself and no one around you has ever cared about your expression or has ever expressed themselves, I think that there's a lot of misdirection on the anger and who to throw that at.
Okay.
That's probably why you're mean to your teachers who didn't do anything. That's probably why you're stealing gnomes from people who love their garden. You know,
guess
I mean,
so.
you're
Like,
doing all the stupid things.
Yeah, but in a vacuum, like, who cares?
Who
You
ca-
know?
You're a teenager. What
Yeah,
kind
but
of
you do
care?
that kind of thing to impress your friends. He doesn't have any friends.
It's just an outlet. You just want to do something wrong because there's so much wrong in you that you're pushing out the wrong into.
It really just does suck. No adult said that to me.
You know what? I don't know that it would matter. You know what I think matters when you're a kid? Get him around other kids who have the before and after experience. I think it's more like a peer bonding thing that you get them in front of, because whatever adults say, it's just going to be, you're the enemy. Whatever you say is what I want to do the opposite of. But if you get them in the group of, like, there are some people in the group that are just in that bad state, and some of them are after it, some of them are going through something, and you have a safe space for them, I think that's more of something that they can relate to than any adult can say anything to them.
Okay. So why send him to Luke's? Is he going to get that at Luke's?
Oh, because his mother doesn't know how to deal.
Yeah, she's out of ideas. I mean, that's why I thought the Boy Scouts were going to come out. Where, like, he was going to end up being the scout leader or something, and then that would change him. You know, now that these kids depend on him, and he needs to show these kids, you know, these like 9-year-olds.
I mean, that's the WB. That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, What is the trivia? Okay. I want to hear all about this lake push. So funny. Okay. Do we have lake push trivia?
A little bit, yeah.
Yay!
This is season 2, episode 5, Nick and Nora, Sid and Nancy, October 30th, 2001. Okay, so the record store that Lane mentions at the start of this episode is called Record Breaker Incorporated. Is that a real store?
Yes.
Yes, it was. It was a real store. They even had, they mentioned the address. The address was real too.
Whoa.
But unfortunately, it closed in early 2000s. So I guess not even mentioning it on this show could help it. What's weird is that there is a place called Record Breaker still, but it has nothing to do with that. There's one in Chicago. It happens to be.
But this aired after it closed?
It was closed in the early 2000s. So that could mean like 2002, 2003.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, so shortly after. Yeah.
Boo.
I know. But Record Breaker, that's a cool name.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So shout out to Chicago. You still have one over there. So now the next one is the actor playing Jess is Milo Ventimiglia. Oh my God, I practiced it and I still messed it up. His name is Milo Ventimiglia.
Nice.
Thank you.
20 million? 20,000? I think that means 20,000. I don't know.
So Milo looks and talks so much like Rocky that I had to look up if he was Sylvester Stallone's real life son. Do you see that? Or do you?
I do. I see it a little bit.
Okay. Well, he's not, but he was cast as Robert Rocky Jr. Balboa, the son of Rocky Balboa in the 6th Rocky movie. And it's called Rocky Balboa. That was in 2006.
Whoa.
Milo also was a character on the show Heroes. And I mentioned that because we just had, in the last episode, somebody from Heroes. He was on from 2006 to 2010. But what I think people might know him the most for, aside from Jess, of course, is the character he played from 2016 to 2022 on what extremely popular show?
Wait, what were the years again? 2016?
16 to 22.
Oh, and it was extremely popular?
Mm-hmm.
2016. I don't know.
I can give you the premise. He plays the dad. His wife is Mandy Moore.
Oh, that's This Is Us guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, he's so much older.
Mm-hmm.
This is young This Is Us guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
I
was wondering if you were gonna.
I didn't realize This Is Us is finished.
Yeah.
They finally did it in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was off the air.
Jack Pearson.
The dad?
Yeah, he also, by the way, has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So this
So do I.
guy's like, oh, excuse me?
I have a star on the Walk of Fame.
Pardon?
I have a star on the Walk of Fame.
Like you drew one?
Just like Milo Ventimiglia.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right, moving on. And
so my last one is Luke throwing Jess in the lake is one of the most beloved scenes in Gilmore World.
It's just so hilarious.
For the scene, Scott Patterson did actually throw Milo in the lake.
Of course.
How many times did Milo get thrown in the lake?
6.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
He got thrown twice.
Oh, that's it?
Mm-hmm. And they actually got the scene in one take, and they did a second one just in case, but I think what we saw is the first one.
That's hilarious.
They'll say they got it in one take. They did that extra one just for funsies.
Yeah, for fun, because you want to dunk what's-his-face in the water. That's great. That's really good. I would have thought it would take more, because he can't flinch, because if I know someone's going to push me into the lake, my body will instinctively move away from it.
He can't see it coming.
Yeah.
He's not a stunt actor.
Yep.
It was from behind, so I had to check to see if they did get a stunt person to fall in the lake,
Right. And he was probably like, I'll do it. It's fine.
Yeah. He did it.
That's funny. I would, my body would be so tense. I would have to do 6 takes to relax into it and know that I'll live.
And
That's
then you
funny.
have to dry your hair and dry everything.
I know. You got to, the whole team has to towel you off and get you new clothes. Maybe that's it. You need 6 sets of clothing.
Yeah.
And everyone has to wait while you dry off.
Right. Yeah. So they only did it twice. And there's a book in his back pocket. Just a random other thing is what I learned from Valerie, the key set designer. She said that it was his idea to always put a book in his back pocket. He always asked the costumers to say, to give him a book to put in his back pocket. That was his interpretation of what
a bad boy does. I mean, it's better than putting a pack of cigarettes in your sleeve and rolling it up. I mean, that's pretty bad boy.
Well, what year is that? Come on.
And I better be always shuffling a deck of cards casually. I don't know. This is the weirdest bad boy I've ever seen. All right, here's what I think. So I didn't see this coming. I figure we're going to need a couple more boys before the series is out, but I didn't see that it was going to be a relation to Luke, which complicates things because Jess is going to be a negative influence on Rory.
Okay.
And then Rory's going to become slightly bad girl Rory, which is going to lead Lorelai to go to Luke. Hey, rein in your nephew. And Luke is going to say, I thought I didn't know anything about parenting. Stupid. And then Lorelai's going to say, your nephew's a bad influence on my daughter. And this might be, the beginning of Rory's downfall. Then, eventually Dean and Jess have to fight. And eventually Tristan and Jess have to fall in love.
Tristan and Jess. Okay.
Just kidding. But I think there's going to be a curveball. I think he's here to stay based on your reaction to him at the beginning of our episode when you said Carrie just met Jess, meaning he's a continuing character. He's not a one shot like Chris was a one shot character.
Well, you just met Chris also, so I said that.
One episode. Way. But I thought Chris was going to stay a couple of episodes, and he was really gone by the next episode. He was the end of one and then a whole episode, and then he got on his sexy motorcycle and I was I thought he was here to stay. So I think based on how you said that I just met him, as if I had met a major player in this Gilmore world, that I think he's going to stick around for a bit.
Okay.
I think it's going to be really messy. I think it's going to make a lot of tension between Luke and Lorelai. And I think he is going to become a Boy Scout. No. I gave that up halfway through this episode. But why did we have the Boy Scouts at the beginning of that?
Oh, you must subscribe, please, wherever you are right here listening, hit the subscribe button. And that's the thing. If you've never watched the show before and you're watching with Carrie, are you making the same predictions?
Tell me. Yes.
For those who have seen my eyes bug out of my face, oh my God, Gilmore Friends. What is happening? We can't say what, but we do wink at me in the comments, which I really enjoy. So, and we're still keeping Carrie away from comments. So
I've not read any comments on any of the platforms. It's infuriating.
I know. It's hard.
Because you put a product out in the world and you want the feedback. I know.
And I tell you, I tell you some of them on our live streams.
I know, but you could be lying to me. I don't know. I have a Hollywood star of fame. No.
The thing is now I write from Gilmore Friends as from the first perspective. So I'm just like, yeah, I was a clown. And it's like, you got to know it's me because you're a Gilmore friend and you got to listen. Carrie away. Somebody, we'll talk about it because, okay, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Oh my God. What?
No, you're the one who told me.
Oh.
We're trying to keep spoilers away from Carrie. And if Carrie ever gets a spoiler, she does let us in on it.
I must confess immediately because I'll it's going to be part of the fabric of our show if I know what I know about the show. Yeah, but I'm still pretty pure. I'm very impressed. We went a whole season. Yeah, we're 5 episodes into this season.
It's true. And I am really impressed. And I really do I like when I get into arguments. I didn't know that there could be such a big argument about Jess in his first episode and his appearance on the show.
First of many episodes.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I said,
what if he's just not here the next episode? They would so do that. Next episode is all about Emily and Richard, and they are having a dinner party, and we need to buy shoes, and it's a whole episode about that, and we don't touch anything that happened this episode.
That's why, if you think about it, I say this to you about every new character. I'm like, Carrie was introduced to this person. Mm-hmm. You don't know if they're coming back or not.
I bet Jess is here to stay.
Let's find out.
He seems wily like that. Or maybe he gets cholera and dies.
You have to write a murder mystery or something because it's in you.
I'm just killing characters off right and left. Is that what it is? All right.
Yeah.
Because I watched Breaking Bad and everybody dies. even main characters die. So I'm like nobody's sacred. I
do appreciate that when shows kill off main characters
because then anything goes. You don't know what you're getting. But
and
this is
not predictable. It's nice.
It's unpredictable, right? And I like to be kept on my toes. That's why
Yeah, that's why I didn't like Mad Men is because what's his face, the main character, he always got out of the trouble he got himself into. I mean, I know they weren't killing people off, but it always worked out for him, and he always got the job done. I'm like, well, how's he going to get out of this one, even though he really should die? So that's I like when you just now this isn't happening anymore.
Yeah, so you're like, oh my God, they killed off a major plot guy.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't do that on Gilmore Girls. I guess not.
We'll see.
I know. Can't wait for episode 6. Let's see what happens. I can't wait.
Thank you all for listening. Have a good night.
Have a good day or night or whatever it is. Bye.
I say have a good night.